Namaskar, a warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Renu Kataria and with me is Saira Mujtaba bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh warns new and powerful India will strike down any efforts by a neighbouring country to disturb its peace. World Health Organization expresses concern over spread of COVID-19 within Europe. 52nd edition of International Film Festival of India gets underway in Goa with dazzling opening ceremony. Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award conferred upon legendary filmmakers Martin Scorsese and Esteban Sabo. In cricket, India to take on New Zealand in third and final T20 match in Kolkata on Sunday. And in badminton, India's campaign at Indonesia Masters tournament comes to an end as PV Sindhu and Kidambi Shrikant lose their semi-final bouts. As India created history by administering over 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the new and powerful India will give a befitting reply to any efforts made by a neighbouring country to destabilise peace in India. The Defence Minister was addressing the Shaheed Samman Yatra at Pithoragarh in Uttarakhand on Saturday. Without mentioning the name of Pakistan, the Defence Minister said they have given a clear message to their neighbour on the western border that if it crosses its limits, they will just not retaliate on the borders but can even cross over into its territory and do surgical and air strikes.
एक पड़ोसी पाकिस्तान बड़ा आतंकवादी हरकतों के माध्यम से भारत को कमजोर करने की, भारत को डिस्टेबलाइज करने की वो कोशिश करता रहता है, वो कर नहीं पाए। अब उसको हम लोगों ने संदेश दे दिया है कि यदि ज्यादा गड़बड़ करोगे तो हम सीमा पर ही नहीं, सीमा के पार जाकर सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक भी कर सकते हैं, जरूरत पड़ी तो एयर स्ट्राइक भी कर सकते हैं। यह संदेश हम लोगों ने दे दिया है।
Without naming China, Mr. Singh said he must make it clear that if there is an attempt by any country in the world to occupy even an inch of our land, India will give a fitting reply to it. Noting that everyone was aware of India's defining victory in 1971, the Defence Minister warned India's neighbours of not living under any delusion. Mr. Singh has said that there are 4 dhams in Uttarakhand and after completing the construction of Saini Dham, it will be the 5th dham of this hill state. He said that this dham will have soil from martyrs' homes and names of martyrs and their villages will also be written in the Saini Dham. On this occasion, Defence Minister and Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami honoured the martyr families with Shaurya Samman Patra and saluted the bravery of the martyrs.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 56th Conference of Director Generals of Police DGPs and Inspector Generals of Police IGPs at Police Headquarters in Lucknow on Saturday. He reached the state capital on Friday evening to attend all sessions of the conference. The conference was inaugurated by Indian Home Minister Amit Shah. Inaugurating the conference, the Home Minister emphasized on the need to focus on security-related issues, including coastal security, left-wing extremism, narcotics trafficking, cybercrime and border area management. The conference will conclude on Sunday. The World Health Organization WHO has warned that some 5 lakh more deaths could be recorded by March unless urgent action is taken. WHO Regional Director Dr. Hans Klug said that they are very worried about the spread of COVID-19 within Europe as the continent battles a fresh wave of infections. The warning comes as several nations report record high infection rates and introduce full and partial lockdowns. Dr. Klug said factors like the winter season, insufficient vaccine coverage and regional dominance of the more transmissible Delta variant were behind the spread. He called for increased vaccine uptake and the implementation of basic public health measures and new medical treatments to help fight the rise. Austria on Friday became the first European country to announce that COVID-19 vaccination would become a legal requirement. The new rules are set to come into force from February. Many other European countries are also imposing new measures as cases rise. Countries including the Czech Republic and Slovakia have also announced fresh restrictions on unvaccinated people as record infection rates are recorded across the continent. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 116 crore 42 lakh mark today. Out of the total vaccination, more than 76 crore 41 lakh vaccine doses have been given as the first dose, while over 40 crore doses have been administered as the second dose. The Indian Health Ministry has said that more than 60,25,000 vaccine doses were administered till 7 p.m. on Saturday.
UNICEF Afghanistan has said it will not observe World Children's Day on Saturday by keeping all its digital platforms closed in solidarity with Afghan children who are facing challenges related to humanitarian crisis. UNICEF acting representative in Afghanistan, Alice Akunga, said by doing this they want to send a message to the donors and urge them to support children in Afghanistan. She said those least responsible for crisis are paying a high price. The UN body said in a statement that children in Afghanistan are bearing the brunt of a rapidly escalating humanitarian crisis. UNICEF warned that over 1 million Afghan children are at risk of dying due to severe acute malnutrition unless they receive immediate treatment. The world body added that measles outbreaks are putting children's lives at risk. It urged global leaders to include these concerns in their talks. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
The 52nd edition of the International Film Festival of India, IFFI, got underway in Goa with a dazzling opening ceremony today. The 9-day film gala is being organized in a hybrid format, that is virtual and physical, and will go on till the 28th of this month. The glittering opening ceremony this evening was hosted by Padma Shri awardee and renowned filmmaker Karan Johar and actor Manish Paul. The celebration started with the traditional lighting of the lamp. The 52nd edition of IFFI is also celebrating 75 years of India's independence and 60 years of Goa's liberation. At the 52nd IFFI, this time the newly instituted Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award was conferred upon legendary Hollywood filmmaker Martin Scorsese and Hungarian filmmaker Istvan Szabo. Renowned actress and Member of Parliament Hema Malini received Indian Film Personality of the Year award at the ceremony. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a special program on India's International Film Festival, IFFI 2021, which is underway in Goa.
Asia's oldest and India's biggest international film festivals, IFFI, got underway with its much-anticipated 52nd edition today in Goa. The festival aims at providing a common platform for the cinemas of the world to project the excellence of the film art. The first edition of IFFI was held in Mumbai in 1952. In all, it had around 40 features and 100 short films. The first edition was non-competitive, which had 23 countries, including the United States, participating, with 40 feature films and about 100 short films. This was the first international film festival held anywhere in Asia. From the third edition in January in 1965, IFFI became competitive. It was chaired by world-renowned filmmaker Satyajit Ray then. It was graded A category by the Paris-based Federation International, the producer of the film. With this recognition, the festival in India came on par with Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Karlovy Vary and Moscow International Film Festivals. Following this recognition, India adopted at its 5th festival in 1975 a permanent insignia. This comprises a representation of the peacock, India's national bird, with a permanent motto of the festival, Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is a family. In its 35th edition in 2004, IFFI became globally competitive and moved its permanent venue to Goa. Welcoming film lovers to Goa, which he recalled is celebrating its 60th year of independence, while the nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting and Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, said that Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is an opportunity for us to take a collective resolve to take the nation to new heights when we celebrate 100 years of our freedom.
ये वर्ष गोवा के लिए भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। गोवा अपने लिबरेशन के 60 वर्ष मना रहा है, तो वहीं पर भारत आज़ादी के 75 वर्ष मना रहा है। आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव एक ऐसा अवसर है हम सबके पास अपनी उपलब्धियों को जन जन और दुनिया तक ले जाने का और संकल्प लेने का कि 75 वर्ष से लेकर 100वें वर्ष तक की यात्रा कैसी होगी। जब शताब्दी वर्ष में हम इकट्ठे होंगे तो भारत एक नई ऊंचाइयों पर होगा।
The minister informed that with this perspective in mind, IFFI 52 has brought together a diverse bouquet of films and filmmakers from around the world. He said that IFFI is embracing new technology and giving a platform to artists and industry to engage with each other, keeping up with the pace of change.
This presents a unique opportunity for Indian cinema and incredible possibilities in content creation and dissemination at all levels on all platforms in all regional languages, domestically as well as globally. I am delighted to share that at the 52nd IFFI, there are many firsts. For the first time ever, IFFI has allowed the OTT platforms to come and participate and present and showcase what they have produced over the last few years. IFFI is embracing the technology, new technology, and keeping with the pace and giving a platform to the artists and industry to engage with them.
The minister informed that for the first time ever, films from 5 BRICS nations, namely Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, and of course India, will be showcased through the BRICS Film Festival alongside IFFI, and there are more than 300 films being showcased at IFFI. He said 148 international films from nearly 75 nations will be screened at the festival.
For first time ever, 5 nations will showcase their films as part of the Focus Country section, as we are also celebrating BRICS Film Festival alongside IFFI. In fact, there are more than 300 films being showcased at IFFI. There are 148 films from nearly 75 nations will be screened during this event.
Speaking about the novel initiative, the minister said that for the first time ever, we are recognizing and mentoring promising 75 young minds as we celebrate 75 years of India's independence.
For the first time ever, we are recognizing and mentoring promising young talents through 75 Young Creative Minds of Tomorrow program being done as we mark 75th year of independence. They have been chosen by the grand jury and the select jury after a meticulous screening process.
The minister also outlined the government's progressive and ambitious vision for IFFI.
Our vision is not limited to the event of IFFI. They should not be taken as a standalone event. I think we have more to offer, but what IFFI should be when India celebrates the 100th year of independence.
The I&B minister expressed the government's steadfast commitment to make India a content creation powerhouse and the post-production hub of the world.
We aim to make India a powerhouse of content creation, especially regional cinema, by scaling up regional festivals. We aim to make India the post-production hub for the world by leveraging the immense tech talent amongst our skilled youth. We aim to make India the hub for world cinema, a destination for films and festivals, and the most favored place for film makers and film lovers. After all, India is a land of storytellers, rich in filmic resources. Today, the world wants to hear the story of India. India can captivate the world by narrating the India's story. The story of rising, powerful, vibrant billion, ready to lead the world the India way.
The Union Minister also highlighted the enormous employment potential of the sector.
The film and entertainment industry has a huge employment opportunities as we leapfrog into the digital era of content, filmmaking, and not to forget film archiving for the future generation. Today, so many of those engaged in filmmaking are young. They are the powerhouse for fresh content making and new narratives. In fact, the media and entertainment sector builds on three unique propositions India offers: abundant and competent labor, ever-growing consumption expenditure, and a diverse culture and linguistic heritage. Where else in the world do you have these powered by the extensive footprint of mobile, internet and digitalization? With this unique combination of connectivity, culture and commerce, India is poised to be the epicenter of this cinematic ecosystem.
Addressing film lovers, Union Minister extended a passionate invitation to all filmmakers in India and across the world to come and be a part of the cinematic kaleidoscope of collaborative diversity of the world's largest democracy.
Today, the India story is being written and defined by Indians. So to all the filmmakers who are present here and listening to us through the digital platform, let me say this: come be part of this cinematic kaleidoscope of collaborative diversity that is set to make new strides as the voice of a rising aspirational billion gears up to lead and take center stage in the decade and beyond. And finally, I'll be failing in my duty if I don't congratulate the winners of the Satyajit Ray from the international category for the Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Martin Scorsese and Mr. Zabo. मैं यही कहूँगा कि आज चाहे गोवा लिबरेशन के 60 वर्ष मना रहा हो या भारत आजादी के 75 वर्ष, ये तो एक पड़ाव है जहां पीछे मुड़कर देख रहे हैं कि हमने क्या हासिल किया है और आगे बढ़ने के लिए एक लक्ष्य निर्धारित कर रहे हैं कि अगले 25 वर्षों में भारत की पहचान दुनिया के कोने कोने में फिल्म जगत के माध्यम से कैसे हो। इसके लिए गोवा की सरकार ने, मेरे प्रिय मित्र डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत जी ने जो ये शानदार आयोजन भारत सरकार के साथ मिलकर किया है, मैं गोवा सरकार का और आपके सभी अधिकारियों का, माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री जी का, सभी मंत्रीगण का और सभी अधिकारियों का बहुत बहुत आभार प्रकट करता हूं।
Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan said that IFFI allows the understanding of various social and cultural ethos and appreciation of world cinema.
IFFI is one of the most iconic film festival in India, in international level. It provides a common platform for filmmakers across the world showcase their talent, bringing together film cultures. The festival allows to understand the various social and cultural ethos and appreciation of the world cinema. That's why, with the initiative of our Minister, Sri Anurag Thakur ji, in this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, IFFI has invited 75 young talent minds in the field of cinema. Under the dynamic leadership of our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, India aims to become the attractive destination for filmmaking. With the focus of ease of doing business, we have opened Film Facilitation Center office in our ministry for a single point conduct to facilitate the filmmakers. These movies which realistically reflect the life story of common man, his struggles, his emotions, his values, attain the status of iconic movies. Our actors bring alive the legendary heroes and great events in the past. Here I wish to mention the immense contribution of some of the legendary icons like M.G. Ramachandran alias MGR, N.T. Ramarao and Shivaji Ganesan to the cinema. Here I also remember to great Dilip Kumarji, Rajkumarji, Sumitra Bhave and many others who left us in the last year. The world of movies shall be in-depth to you.
Welcoming the delegates and guests to the 52nd IFFI, Chief Minister of Goa, Shri Pramod Sawant, recalled former Union Defence Minister, late Dr. Manohar Parrikar, who as Chief Minister of Goa, hosted IFFI in Goa for the first time, following which for the last 17 years IFFI is being hosted in the beach city.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव और गोवा एट रेट 60 इस पावन पर्व पर आई वेलकम फॉर द 57 इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल। आज इस अवसर पर मैं याद करता हूं the ex-defense minister and ex-chief minister of the state of Goa, Sri Manohar Parrikar, जिन्होंने ही 2004 में इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल फर्स्ट टाइम ये गोवा में इनवाइट किया और तभी की प्रसारण मंत्री स्वर्गीय सुषमा स्वराज जी उन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम यहाँ पे आयोजन करने का मौका गोवा को दिया। तभी से लेके आज तक लास्ट फॉर द 17 years वी आर होस्टिंग द इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल। डे बाय डे इसका आयोजन बहुत अच्छी तरह से कर रहे हैं और इसी के वास्ते गोवा इज ऑलरेडी नोन स्टेट फॉर द टूरिस्ट एंड फॉर द इफी के वास्ते द गोवा इज नोन ग्लोबली विच इज अ प्राउड मोमेंट फॉर द गोवंस।
Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Shri Apurva Chandra said that IFFI is the largest and best film festival of the country with a rich legacy of more than 50 years. The Secretary explained that the festival has become bigger despite the COVID-19 challenge. The 9-day celebration of cinematic excellence will be an immersion into the cinematic confluence of tragedy, fiction and reality. The combination of virtual, physical and other immersive experiences promises to make the 52nd IFFI a treat for cinephiles around the world.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Saturday reviewed the efforts made to develop the International Financial Services Centre IFSC at GIFT City at Gandhinagar in Gujarat as a gateway to global financial services for Indian corporates. The minister was on a day-long visit to Gujarat International Finance Tech City, GIFT City in Gujarat to interact with stakeholders. During her discussions, Ms. Sitharaman emphasized on the government's commitment to make the city a world-class fintech hub as stated in the Union Budget 2021-22. The minister cleared two proposals of International Financial Services Centres Authority IFSCA. One of the proposals is related to the 269.05 crore rupees Supervisory Technology Fund for its infrastructure and the other is 200 crore rupees for headquarter building. She said that IFSC-related measures announced in the last year's budget include tax holiday for capital gains for aircraft leasing companies, tax exemption for aircraft lease rentals paid to foreign lessors, tax incentive for relocating foreign funds in IFSC, and exemption to investment divisions of foreign banks. The Centre for Cellular and Molecular Platforms, CCAMP in Bengaluru, has launched the India Antimicrobial Resistance Hub IAIH to combat antimicrobial resistance termed as the silent pandemic. Antimicrobial resistance AMR is identified by the World Health Organization as one of the top 10 global healthcare threats. Out of 10 million deaths across the world, around 2.5 million deaths due to antimicrobial resistance are in India. More from our correspondent.
Antimicrobial resistance or AMR is caused due to misuse of antimicrobials, lack of clean water and sanitation, and lack of public awareness about microbial infections. CCAMP is India's unique global multi-stakeholder platform that has come forward to counter antimicrobial resistance, which is world's biggest healthcare challenge. Various national and international institutions from public health organizations have come together with ICMR, Department of Biotechnology, and ICAR to devise interventions to prevent the disease. The director of CCAMP, Dr. Taslim Arif Saeed, has said that the global platform driven by CCAMP will collectively fight the health challenge posed by AMR. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
On to sports now. In cricket, India will take on New Zealand in the third and final T20 match at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata on Sunday. India have already gained an unassailable 2-0 lead after winning the second T20 in Ranchi on Friday. For New Zealand, it will be a chance of signing off from the series on a high note before shifting focus to the two-match test series. It is expected that India might field a new combination to test the reserve bench strength. The average score in the last 7 T20s in Kolkata is just 142, and thus Sunday's game could be another low-scoring encounter. It is expected that Dew might once again play a crucial role, and thus the team winning the toss might opt to bowl first. In the last 5 T20 matches played at this venue, India has emerged victorious on 4 occasions. In badminton, India's campaign at the Indonesia Masters Tournament 2021 in Bali came to an end on Saturday, with Kidambi Srikanth losing his semi-final bout in the men's singles event against third seed Anders Antonsen. Srikanth lost 14-21, 9-21 in a match that lasted 41 minutes to Antonsen. Antonsen will now play the final against Kento Momota. Earlier in the day, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu lost to Akane Yamaguchi of Japan in the semi-final. In a 32-minute match, Akane Yamaguchi beat Sindhu 21-13, 21-9. Only two Indians, that is HS Pranoy and Saina Nehwal, have won the Indonesia Masters title in history.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian reports unrest in Portland as Kyle Rittenhouse verdict divides US. Sputnik News says Polish Defense Minister reports continued attempts by migrants to storm border overnight. The Globe and Mail writes, Health Canada approves Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11. Khaleej Times says Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed receives US award for Israel peace deal. Tolo News reports Kabul-Tehran committees formed on trade infrastructure. The Himalayan Times writes Kathmandu labelled 9th most polluted city in the world. And the Sydney Morning Herald says warning shots fired at Rotterdam riot as Europe tightens COVID restrictions.
In some more news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio on the 28th of this month. It will be the 83rd episode of the monthly radio program. The Prime Minister has invited people to share their ideas for this month's episode. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he wants to hear from the people on possible themes and topics for this month's Mann Ki Baat. He urged people to share insights on the MyGov, Namo app or record their message. People can dial toll-free number 1800117800 and record their message for the Prime Minister in either Hindi or English. The phone lines will remain open till the 26th of November. Some of the recorded messages may become part of the broadcast. People can also give a missed call on 1922 and follow the link received in the SMS to directly give their suggestions to the Prime Minister. Astronomy lovers and sky watchers witnessed the longest partial lunar eclipse Saturday night. The spectacular phenomenon lasted 3 hours and 28 minutes, becoming the longest partial eclipse of not only the century but in 580 years. It was visible throughout much of the globe, including North and South America, Eastern Asia, Australia and the Pacific region. A lunar eclipse happens when the Sun, the Earth and full moon form a near-perfect lineup in space. A partial lunar eclipse occurs when only a portion of the moon passes through the Earth's darkest shadow.
A quick look at the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh warns new and powerful India will strike down any efforts by neighbouring country to disturb its peace. World Health Organization expresses concern over spread of COVID-19 within Europe. 52nd edition of International Film Festival of India gets underway in Goa with dazzling opening ceremony. Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award conferred upon legendary filmmakers Morton Sarsis and Istvan Sabo. In cricket, India to take on New Zealand in third and final T20 match in Kolkata on Sunday. And in badminton, India's campaign at Indonesia Masters Tournament comes to an end as PV Sindhu and Kidambi Srikanth lose their semi-final bouts. India is celebrating the 152nd birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Slovenia. And with that, we end this bulletin. We will be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.